My leap motion's falling out! Hey Sprouts, welcome back. Welcome to the Sprout Garden once again, where I will be doing detective things. You might notice I kind of updated this just a little bit. Just a tiny bit. You can see if you notice anything. This week's been kind of hectic. I really don't have much in the way of, like, news. Really. There we go. Moving some panels around on my OBS. What am I gonna say? Anyways, let's get to detectiving, I guess. That's a thing that we were doing the last time. We were doing the thing. Oh wait, is Racy Face, are you doing a thing? There. It keeps turning off voice the lip sync thing for no actual reason. Getting my blanket here on my toes. Game up. It's not hard work. Starting to notice my PS4 controller is working without having the DS4 windows up. Switch to 3DS.
3DS主様.
Come on, I fixed this. Hold, please. I spent time to fix this, and it's not fixed. Man, VC Face is really just started becoming garbage. It's something turned my num lock off. But it shouldn't matter because I put it in OBS to actually hit the correct key, so it shouldn't matter whether I have a numpad or not. I think I might know what the culprit is. Yeah, there we go. I have an alternate keyboard where the numpad was turned off, which might be overwriting this keyboard. there? Is everything straight? Alright, that's taken care of. We were at the third part of the first case. What do we know? Well, I know everything. Let's see, woman was murdered, body was dumped in the park. And some of the homeless people might know, but we've got to get the information out of them. I couldn't get Yulia's words out of my head. King is more than just a colleague. I think his name might be, okay, King was originally named Kuma in the original Japanese, from what I went back and checked. Kuma means bear. They could have called him, like, Bearly or Bearsley or something. And Vincent, I do believe, is Kosugi. So Kuma is more than just a colleague. We're very different men. But Kuma is like a brother to me. A man who shares the same point of view. You don't find friendship like that very often in a place like... what was it, Shibuya? Or no, Shinjuku. In Shinjuku. And now that man, my friend, had been attacked. My heart pounded against my ribs as I tore through the hospital's dark hallways and burst into Kuma's room. Kuma! I do believe that's just a hint feature. Kuma was lying on the bed with his arms in a sling. Was it Louis Vincent? Sitting behind him and looked at me as I ran in. What's going on? Why are you running around in the hospital? Kuma, you had me worried, old man. I beg your pardon. Yulia told me you've been, what was it? Yoko! Yoko told me you've been mugged. I guess I just kind of assumed the worst. Oh dear, I'm terribly sorry. I didn't mean to make you worry. But as you can see, I'm fit as a fiddle. Yeah, I think that's Kosugi. Now, what was his voice? You're one hell of a lucky guy, Kuma. Looks like the inside of any hospital room. It looks like the cops were as worried about Kuma as I was. They'd stationed a cop outside the door, although I'd managed to rush past him without much trouble. His arm was wrapped in gauze, but it didn't look like he had any serious injuries. Kosugi was holding onto a baseball bat. I had a feeling I knew why. I also had a feeling I didn't ever want to piss him off. Kuma, you're staying here tonight, right? Look, I'm gonna let you hold on to my bat. Anyone that gives you trouble, you beat the tar out of him. I already forgot his voice. Kosugi. Wait, no. Kosugi. I appreciate the concern, old bean, but I don't think I shall require the services of your, bat. I'm just fine, my boy. It's nothing serious. A spot of tea and a biscuit, and I'll be right as rain. Let's say he's not British. I took a smack to my head and a bit of a beating on my arm, but it's nothing I can't handle. I'll be feeling better in no time. But enough about me. I must know, how's your investigation going? It was earlier this evening. I was conducting interviews in the trip, whatever district. The Shibuya district, I don't know. They jumped me in an alley, rather embarrassing, really. You think a cop who's been on the force as long as I have? They were two young men. I wouldn't be surprised if they were still in their teens. But once they realized it was a police officer, they ran away. In fact, they seemed rather shaken up about it. They said they got the wrong guy. So they mistook you for someone else. That means... You're right, Saburou. The real target is out there somewhere. Probably me.
I just about shit a brick when the department called me and told me about Kuma, but I should have known this old bastard isn't easy to kill. Nothing much, but if I find the little bastards who did this bad, me are gonna show them the meaning of pain. Beat up my friend, will they? Oh,
What is it?
come to think of it, in all this excitement, I missed the game. I don't suppose you heard how it turned out.
Guy, had other things on my mind.
What? You're useless.
Oh, Vincent. Or oh, Kosigi. Wait, yeah. I caught the last thing on the radio in the ambulance.
I knew I could count on you, Kuma.
Before I knew it, they were chatting along about baseball scores, the mugging forgotten. I was happy he was alright, but seriously, I was starting to wonder why I'd even worried about him in the first place.
Kuma said there were some underage punks. The gang unit suspects that they might be from one of the gangs in the Tripudio area. I can't wait to get my hands on those little bastards. Wait a minute, they might be looking for you too! Saburou, you better watch out for yourself.
Alright, old man, I'm taking off. Be careful, Jake. I'm counting on you to solve this case. I wasn't sure what to think as I left the hospital. Even my cigarette didn't taste as good as usual. The walk back to my office wasn't a short one, but before I knew it, I was sprawled out across my sofa. I had just enough energy to kick off my shoes before sleep took a hold of me and I was out like a light. Less to say that my shoes were like right next to the door like they should be because, well, you know, this is set in Japan, you know. Sir, you went to bed without changing your clothes again. Although at least you're wearing pants this time. That was one time if you just knocked. I did, sir, for 20 minutes. You look a little tired. How about some coffee? That sounds great. I don't know what
I don't understand.
Mycroft? What's up?
I am doing computation for the world.
Thanks, Mycroft. One shudders to think, sir. You're a regular laugh riot. Now help me find some clean pants. He. That could be a particularly valuable feeling when one is concerned they might be the target of an attack. You can't buy this kind of feeling. Well, maybe that's not true. After all, I bought it when I bought the office. Shinjuku hummed with activity. People in cars going back and forth about their business. Some people have trouble with the noise of the city, but it always just makes me feel at home. I hadn't had a single new client since the beginning of Mary's case. I wouldn't have been able to handle 2 cases at once anyways, but it made me a little nervous not to have something on the back burner. He got roughed up a bit, but he's going to be fine. That's certainly a relief, sir. That phone call had me worried that it was something serious. Hopefully he'll be out of the hospital soon. I can't imagine he likes it there very much. Sounds like it was just a couple of punk kids. Even if they get caught, I imagine, I think it's, it's Kuma something. Kuma will only worry about them. Yeah, that sounds like the Kuma, alright. I doubt he'll even press charges. Sounds like it was just a couple of punk kids. Even if they get caught, okay. The cops still haven't found the punks who jumped Kuma. Well, I'm sure they're doing their best. They're still not sure what they're after, but there's a chance I might be their next target. If that's the case, working here could be putting you in danger, so I want you to be extra careful. Of course, sir, I think you broke the lock on the door the last time you forgot your keys, but I'll do my best. You be careful too, sir. Yoko, yes. If you like, you can take a vacation for a while. Jinguuji-san, I'm surprised at you. I didn't take this job because it was safe. I understand the risk. I'm here because I want to be. You sure know how to bring a tear to my eye. Just keep an eye out and I think we'll both get through this without a scratch. So what's your plan today, sir? Let's see. I think it's time I met this Trent. Mary's old boyfriend. No sooner were the words out of my mouth than I realized that I didn't have the first... No sooner were the words out of my mouth than I realized that I didn't have the first idea about how I was going to find Trent. The only thing I knew about him was that he'd been with Mary before she died. The next step. I need to figure out how to get a hold of Trent if I'm going to talk to him. What should we do? Maybe someone was close to Mary and might have his cell phone number. Maybe Kim? Huh? Of course. You're a lifesaver. Let there be of hope, sir. There had to be a way to figure out get a hold of Mary's mysterious boyfriend. I feel like I was just right in front of me, but I just couldn't figure it out. I found Trent's number in Mary's phone and dialed it. After a few rings, I heard the voice of an excited young man. Mary, I was so worried about you. Ephraim? Whoa, who's this? My name is Saburou Jinguuji. I'm a detective. Detective? Why does a detective have Mary's cell phone? I need to talk to you about that. It's very important that I speak to you as soon as possible. Is there somewhere we can meet? Trent didn't seem to know what to make of me, but after a long pause, he agreed to meet me at La Mer, a coffee shop in Shinjuku. Don't want to keep Trent waiting. Keep yourself out of trouble. I'll do my best, sir. Be careful. Usually I enjoy Shinjuku's crowds. It's easy for a fellow to get lost in them, which would be very helpful for a private dick. Dick's so private, still in the pants. Maybe it was the gray sky or the slow drizzle that was just starting, but the huddled masses didn't feel like home. I almost felt relieved as I stepped off the street and into La Mer. I arrived at La Mer, the coffee shop where Trent and I had agreed to meet. I was a little conflicted about meeting the kid. On the one hand, he probably knew Mary better than anyone else. On the other hand, I was probably going to have to tell him his girlfriend had just bought it, and no one knew why. Morning, afternoon, actually it's like 2 p.m. How goes? It's been a while. Don't need that out. What did I want to do? I want to inspect Lemaire. It was a pretty relaxed joint, the kind of place where you'd usually see small packs of college kids. I took a look around the room as I put out my cigarette in a nearby ashtray. There was only a handful of customers. But Trent Ephraim was one of them. Ephraim? Maybe it's Ephraim? Is it like biblical? I've streamed in the past half year. It's been a probably for you it's been that while. Been a while though. I've been streaming like off and on though. I took stock of the customers. There was a fat man, a fellow who was brooding over something, a man with a book, and a happy woman. There were a few couples as well, but I didn't see as they would be of much interest to me. You're Trent, right? But what? You've got the wrong guy, pal. Don't bother me. I'm eating. Sorry to bother you, pal. Carry on. You're Trent, right? Oh, what's a good voice from? Oh yeah, are you the detective? That's right, I'm Saburou Jinguuji. So how come you have Mary's cell phone? So, about Mary. Damn kid, look, there's no easy for me to say this. I told him about Mary's murder. He did the same thing everyone else does at first, refused to believe it, but as I watched, the truth began to sink in, and suddenly he was crying. Trent's moaning and sobbing echoed across the quiet coffee shop. I've been on his side of this little exchange before, so I knew to keep my mouth shut and give him a few minutes to get himself together. I was already pulling out my lighter when I realized they'd probably frown on smoking inside the joint. Well, welcome back. It's good to see you in chat. The kid sure could wait, I don't think that's supposed to be his line. I think that's supposed to be more narration. The kid should cry. I told Trent that I had been investigating Mary's case at the request of the police. Usually I wouldn't tell a third who I was working for, but I figured Trent deserved to know. Maybe not the most professional move, but I'm not the most professional guy. So you've come to see me as part of your investigation? Yeah, that's right. Look, kid, I know this isn't easy for you, but I'm running out of options, if you know anything that might help. You're right. I can't help her but crying. I'll tell you everything I can. Just please find the bastard who did this. You did this! I know you did this! I know how this case goes. I watched it on Game Center CX. It's one of the... I think it's the boyfriend. The boyfriend conspired with the secretary of the old guy that was her father to kill her and get the money. The inheritance money. Just gotta figure out how it was done. I met her at a party held by my university's hang gliding club. To be honest with you, I kinda looked down on her at first because she worked in a bar. But Mary wasn't like the other girls. They never are. She was such a hard worker. Always honest. She was never ashamed of her condition. She was always so outgoing. What did I want to talk about? Her condition. I think she had a heart condition? And she had a heart... She worked at a major, corporation, but she got a Fortune 500 corporation, but she got fired from it due to her heart condition. Which is why she was working at the bar, which used to be a hostess club in the original game. She never told me what exactly it was. Even after it cost her a good job, she didn't get discouraged. Still put her heart into whatever she was doing. She just recently found the hospital with a new treatment. They found out she was channeling hell through her heart. She said she might finally be cured. Damn it. Damn it. What did I want to talk about? The hospital. She had been going to Eternis University Hospital for a long time. I remember she even had surgery there once. But the surgery didn't help with the condition in the long run, so she had recently started going to this new hospital. Oh, now that I think about it, just a few days ago, she sounded upset over the phone. She called me around midnight and told me that her disease was going to be cured. But she didn't sound very happy, and she seemed to have something else on her mind, so I don't know what it was, but she sounded concerned about something. And you find out, at least in the NES version, that the old guy was kind of pestering her in the hostess club about stuff. But I'm not certain, I forget if he was in here in the bar or not. I think it probably had to do with the disease. She had been to the new hospital that day, but she didn't tell me what exactly was bothering her. Now that I think about it, that was the last call I got from her. I was so ecstatic that her disease could be cured, I couldn't stop talking. If I'd only paid more attention on how she was feeling. Damn it. She didn't kill herself. We know it's a murder. With a great sob, he buried his head in his arms and his body shook with grief. I had seen tears like those on Trent's face before. Wait, you just met him! We just met him! We don't know how he is! I wasn't gonna get anything out of... Yeah, okay, Saburou, Trent. I wasn't gonna get anything else out of him. Comfort Trent. He had... Look, I'm sure you just think I'm a stupid old man, but I know what you're feeling. Maybe I didn't know Mary like you did, but that doesn't mean I don't want to see whoever did this put away for a long, long time. The girl you told me about was a strong, smart, wonderful person. Now, more than ever, I know I've got to find out the person who did this. And believe me when I say I am going to catch them. And when I do, they're going to be very sorry they ever heard of Mary Taylor. Whoever killed her is going to pay. By cash, credit, or check. Thank you, Mr. Jinguuji. I don't know what to say. Muffled sobs drifted up from Trent's arms where he'd buried his face. Couldn't blame the guy. He'd been pretty stuck on Mary. I'd had days like the ones he was having. The only thing I could do was give him a minute to cry himself out. It dawned on me that the most of the people sharing La Mer with me were probably only college students. I couldn't help but feel a little old. It was a pretty relaxed joint, the kind of place where you usually see small packs of college kids. Oh god, there's a wild pack of college kids over there, everybody! Hide! Don't want money from you for ramen. Actually, what do college kids eat nowadays, since ramen's kind of on the expensive side too? I remember when you could get 10 packs of ramen for $1. That was like back in the days. Probably like way back in the days. I'm probably dating myself by carbon dating myself by saying how many packs of ramen you could get for $1. I took a look around the room as I put my cigarette in a nearby ashtray. It was only a handful of customers. It dawned on me that, okay. Why do I want to go outside? I put my hand on Trent's shoulder. I told him I'd let him know when I found Mary's killer and gave him a pat on the back for good measure. Poor kid. Why don't you just pet him on the head like, you know, in an anime? Just give him little head pats. I picked up my jacket and walked back out in the busy, Shinjuku streets. I refuse to place this in anywhere in America. This was in Shinjuku. This guy's name's Saburou Jinguuji. God, I hate AksysGames for messing the translation up. Like, alright, name him Jake fucking Hunter. Excellent, fine. Whatever. How about just keeping the place where this is the same? Like, Shinjuku and, like, all that. Instead of, like, it's... I forget the sketch, but it's, like, it shows, Phoenix Wright, and I forget who's there, maybe Mia Fey, that's talking about, like, a big traditional, very traditional, like, Japanese house with, like, Mount Fuji in the background. He's going on about, how American it is and how he's in New York, wait, no, Los Angeles or something like that, and it's like, yeah, he's in fucking Japan, they're wearing kimonos, this isn't New York. Once outside, I headed straight for Eternus University Hospital. Something about what Trent had said made me think I'd missed something at the hospital. I'm actually, Hey Jamie, how goes? I'm trying to hack this to put back in all of the original, like, backgrounds that aren't edited, and seeing if I can hack the text to put the names back to where they are. New headset, I feel you there. I had to get a new headset, like, a couple of years ago? A few years ago? Well, I wanted headphones, mostly. Because I don't do a headset because the mics on them are usually kind of crap. But yeah, I've needed lots of new headsets before, like especially if you get Logitech headsets, the $30 ones, they're kind of like either the left or the right speaker will go out on you. That itch in my brain was telling me that Mary's mysterious condition had a lot more to do with this case than I thought. I'm pretty sure that's the brain slug that's making your brain itch. Poor thing's probably fucking starving. See, it's hiding in there in the spikes on his head. As I wove my way through the press of bodies that was Shinjuku in the daytime, I began to feel like I was being followed. It was just a feeling, but after that, what happened to Kuma, I figured it wouldn't hurt to be careful. Yeah, I need to look up what his full name is. It's Kuma something, like, Kumamoto? I think it's Kumamoto. Like, they could have called him Bearsley. Or Bear something. Because he's big, and he's kind of like a bear. As I was trying to surreptitiously locate my shadow, Mary's cell phone went off. I pulled the phone out of my pocket to find another mysterious text message. We've been trying to contact you about the extended warranty on your vehicle. Be careful. Was it some kind of warning? I slipped the phone back into my pocket and glanced across the crowds, trying to pick out which of those saps was tailing me. How about putting your back up against a wall so everybody has to come at you from the front? What I want to do? I want to look around. Just like every other day, the streets were clogged with people going about their business. It was gonna be tough to spot someone following me in those crowds, something I'd used to my advantage before more than once. I caught myself before I turned around. That would have been a bad move. I didn't want to let my shadow know I was wise to them. Yet. Like, I know he's being shadowed by someone, but I'm just imagining him, like, just trying to peek over his shoulders to catch a glimpse of his actual shadow on the pavement. But he never does, because when he turns, like, the light just makes it disappear. I let my eyes drift across the sea of humanity, pretending to be looking for a place to eat. No dice. Well, I hadn't thought it would be that easy anyway. You know, like, I'm probably not in the right spot where food is. I'm just going through my options again. Because sometimes they're like, you didn't click this 3 times, we're not going to advance. The department store might have food. Or at least maybe some candy. Candy's food, right? Tell me candy is food. Right. If I went somewhere they wouldn't expect, I might throw them off guard long enough for me to spot them. Or, you know, the person playing this game has no clue where to go because, well, it used to be played differently back on the NES. I casually strolled into a nearby department store. People usually spread out in the department store, so it would be easier for me to spot people. This particular store also had a number of exits, so whoever was tailing me would have to follow me to see which exit I took. Like, I'm trying to think, like, I think in Japan, department store has a different meaning. Like, a department store in Japan is something like Walmart or Target. But I know, at least over here, or at least before, when you think of department store, you think of, like, Sears or JCPenney's. Hi! Remember Sears and JCPenney's? Remember when they used to exist? Or, like, Dillard's? Anybody remember Dillard's? No? Oh, okay, I'm gonna go crawl under my, crawl back into my cave. I didn't imagine the owners would have agreed with me, but it looked like the perfect place to catch the creeps who were following me. I looked for a part of the store that was relatively empty. I headed for the menswear section because men don't wear clothes. They run around absolutely naked. And stopped at a rack to examine a jacket. Men don't buy clothes. They find women to buy clothes for them. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's like men want to claim that men are all logical and stuff, yet, you know, they also, like, don't usually buy their own clothes. They usually go to a store and ask the people there, like, what would fit me, or they would, like, get their wives' girlfriends to buy it for them, which is like, can you do that yourself? Alright, get some sleep. Take care of yourself. I know that feeling of, like, staying up way too late and then falling asleep way too late. I just did, like, a double 12 hours back-to-back of sleeping. Like, I slept 12 hours, woke up for a few hours, and then did another 12 hours. I think it reset my system. As I glanced around, I noticed a few people who looked like perhaps they didn't belong. Shady people. I was about to spot a few people who looked like they were a little out of place or a little suspicious. There were a couple of thugs, a pair of high school lovebirds, two serious young men, and what looked like to be a pair of wise guys. It's been cold here. Yeah, it's starting to cool off here too. It's starting to get nice, you know, where I can like regulate the temperature in my room a lot better rather than hot, really hot death. I wonder if that was like a couple of Yakuza originally. Or Gokudo, I think they're called. I don't think they're actually called, like, Yakuza. They're usually, I think it's Gokudo or, like, something like that. Like, Gokudo are, like, the names of the people, and Yakuza is the organization they belong to. And I peered over a jacket at the two Yakuza. I'm gonna go with Yakuza, it fits better. They looked like they were probably a couple of torpedoes and a matched description of Kuma's muggers. Did they? Because his muggers were young. It's, I think, like 60 or 50 to 60 here. So we're not quite down in the 30s yet. I glanced over toward the high school couple. They were way too busy necking to be following anyone. I'm surprised they didn't translate as they were too busy following each other's tongues and each other's mouths to be following me. I pick up and examined a pair of slacks as I glanced in the direction of the serious men. They seemed restless, constantly looking back and forth. Their age was just about a match to the guys who jumped Kuma. No, they said Kuma was jumped by, like, by teenagers, not men. I eyed the wise guys over the collar of a jacket I was pretending to be very interested in. It did seem a little odd to find the Cosa Nostra in a department store, but... What? The Mafia? Or is this the Yakuza? The more I watched them, the more it looked like they were just shopping for formal wear for a funeral. Besides, if I knew the wise guys in this city, they had better things to do than tail a small fish like me. Why don't you just call them Mafia or mobsters or, I don't know, organized crime members? I'd managed to get a good look at everyone in the store, but I still wasn't sure who was following me. Like, is it an upbeat department store? I mean, if they're Yakuza, I would likely think that they wouldn't be shopping in, like, a department store. They'd be getting their clothing from, like, a more high-end place. I had to make a decision. It was a shot in the dark, but I figured the group following me had to be the... Just as I was about to light my cigarette in the department store to think this over, it dawned on me that that might be frowned upon. I shoved it back in the pack and took a deep breath. Oh god, how long has it been since I've smoked in this game? Yeah, I had to find out if I was really being followed and who was following me. But if I was gonna do that, I needed to go somewhere I could spot them. I decided to keep an eye on the serious-looking young men. I'd made my choice. It was time to see if they would follow me to another location and confirm my suspicions. Maybe it was like gang members. Alright, so serious men are gang members. I don't know what he means by they were a couple of torpedoes. Convenience store, that's where we can get food. Don't really want to go to the street yet. I want it someplace that might have cameras. I decided to go to the convenience. Let's just move it. Let's just go with that. Now I casually walked into a nearby convenience store. What did I want to do? I want to inspect ahead. There are too many people in the convenience store. It only had one exit. My pursuers wouldn't need to come in to follow me. I'd never see them. In other words, it wasn't exactly the best place to try and spot them. I figured I could turn around in the store without drawing undue attention to myself. I couldn't see the serious-looking men that I had noticed in the department store. I figure I must have made a mistake. Things weren't going well. I was starting to worry that I was losing my touch. I figure I should head back to the department store. I could only hope the same groups of people were still there. There are only a few people in the convenience store. I thought you said it was packed. But I didn't think any of them were following me. It'd be pretty stupid to get that close to your mark. They'd have to be watching me from outside. Let's go to the street! That would have been a bad move. I didn't know how many there were or what kind of guys there were. I was going to face them, but not before figuring out who they were and getting them on my terms. I stepped away from the back street. Backstreet Boys? Are the Backstreet Boys? Are we following the Backstreet Boys? Let's go nowhere. Welcome to the void of nowhere. I figured I should head back to the department store. They'd have to show themselves eventually if they wanted to keep on my tail. It was looking like Lady Luck was on my side. Fortunately, the same groups I had noticed earlier were still in the department store. Them, I guess. The Torpedo Twins? I'd made my choice. It was time to see if they would follow me to another location and confirm my suspicion. I think they're on to me now. I went out of the department store to the convenience store, so they would have to follow me there. And then I'm coming back to the department store, so then I'd be like, what the fuck is this guy doing? He's on to us. Then I returned to the convenience store. I had forgotten my munchies. I was running out of time. If I didn't figure out who was following me quickly, they'd be on top of me before I knew it. I needed to get back to work. I walked into the convenience store again. Had I been wrong? No, I'd been so sure. I decided to wait just a little longer. See, there were too many people in the convenience store. I glanced over toward the door as I picked up a copy of People. I don't know what the Japanese equivalent would be. Sure enough, the Torpedo Twins were there, looking as suspicious as possible. Looked like I hadn't missed my guess. Yeah, wait, hang on. Let me do that again. There were only a few people in the convenience store, but I didn't think any of them were following me. There were too many people in the convenience store. Which is it? Too many or too few? As I looked in the convenience store, the amount of people kept fluctuating. In and out, they kept appearing and disappearing. I couldn't really keep track of how many came and how many went. All I knew is that there was too many people as well as too few. They were clever enough not to stand next to each other, but they still stuck out like a pair of sore thumbs. It looked like they were more used to straightforward wet work. There was no doubt in my mind those two saps were following me. I already figured out who was following me. Shopping would have to wait. It was time for a little showdown. I need to lure them into an empty street. I walked towards the street I picked out earlier, my shadows following like an obedient pair of dogs. This was it, sink or swim. I was hoping they were just there to rough me up, not to bump me off. But I didn't want to take any chances. Pretty soon all our cards would be on the table. And I'd have my trap card. And it would be face down. Those two would trip across it and you've activated my trap card. If my hand wasn't the winning hand, it wasn't going to end well. I made sure I had all 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons in my deck. Most of the streets of Shinjuku are about as crowded as Ellis Island during a potato famine? Is that a reference to the Indian potato famine? Back in England, when the what's his name? That World War II guy, like, starved people in India to death. Everybody forgets that because, like, oh yeah, that World War II Churchill, I think that was Churchill's, starved people to death, and that was called the potato famine. But once you get off the main drag, things get a lot quieter. Some streets are almost completely empty. I have no idea what the original Japanese reference would be. Unless it was in India during the potato famine. Most decent folks stay off the empty streets, but every so often they can come in handy. There was still a few people on the street. If I wanted to avoid a scene, I would need to lead the twins somewhere else. As I walked down the street, I glanced back at my shadows. It looked like they hadn't figured out that I was onto them. I don't know if these are edited images or not. I'd have to look at the original Japanese one to see if they're like... Because that hair on the guy on the left looks like it's kind of pasted on, and the batons look like they might have been guns. Not sure. Lucky for me, I had done this enough to know all the tricks, but it looks like this was their first time doing something that required subtlety. But, although batons would work better in Japan since, guns are banned. Oh look, a country that bans guns! Look how many people get killed by guns in Japan every single year! Oh look, it's not really a lot! It's so insignificant that it really shouldn't be mentioned. Who knew that banning guns was like... would solve like a lot of the gun crime? If they jumped me when I wasn't ready, I was prepared to make a run for it. Of course, I had no intention of letting them get the drop on me in the first place. No, I lit a cigarette. I figured out who they were, but I had to do something about them. I decided my best move was to lure them to someplace there weren't any people, so I could get my ass kicked without anybody looking. Back alley. It's not really a good place to be alone. I'd made my plan. It was time to put it into action. I paused for a moment and started walking toward an empty alley. By then I had no doubt that the saps following were the goons who worked Kuma over, and it was putting me in an evil mood. These fellows were plenty rugged, but I was no pushover myself. I'd done my best. Hopefully I wouldn't die. I checked my HP. I checked to see if my equipment was equipped. I cast all my buffs. They were still following me, although they were keeping their distance. The alley was completely empty. Perfect place to pick a fight. I've made my way through the alley on an abandoned back street. Boys. I made my way through the music scene onto an abandoned back street, boy. Empty buildings walled us in. Sorry. Sorry, I shouldn't do that. There was no backing out at this point. If things went downhill, any call for help would be drowned out by the noise of the city. I watched a lot of, like, comedy videos before coming here. I think I'll just keep looking at stuff. I made my way through the alley to an abandoned back street. Empty buildings walled us in. Blah blah blah. I think I've read this before. I heard their footsteps speed up. Looked like they were on to me. Then I heard the player that was reading these things, bless me with a state that I knew that whatever bad decision I had made, I could redo it instantly and make sure that I'm not gonna end up dead here in this back alley. There wasn't anywhere to hide, not that it would have helped much. I spun around the two thugs and stopped short right in front of me. The guy on the right was tall, looked like he worked out. I got the feeling he'd done this sort of thing before often. The other one was a bit more of a fish. Straight from the Black Lagoon. But he was still not the type of a person you'd want to run into on a deserted alley. I guess they meant fish out of water. But you know, I'm just imagining him being attacked by like a fish man. Each one had what looked like some kind of baton. I had fists. Like, are you a black belt? If you're a black belt, I think after a certain level, you get like multiple attacks per your level, which is actually does more damage than like them if they're fighters having a baton. I'm talking Final Fantasy 1 here. My sudden stop must have taken them by surprise. They froze for just a second. Time to get their faces acquainted with the ground. Why don't you acquaint them with your fist first? He had that nasty sideways smirk of a tough guy who thinks he's pretty hot shit. Look at that smirk on him. Look at that straight line across the artwork. Of course, it looked like he might have the right to be at least a little cocky. I wasn't looking forward to tangling with him. He was barely keeping it together. He didn't look like much of a challenge, but I had to make sure I didn't let my guard down. I guess we fight. Left. Let's go left. He was obviously weaker than the other guy. Use him as a human shield against the other guy. Really, quit hurting yourself. Quit. Okota. Okota nai. I decided it'd be best if I finished him off first. Bring it on! I threw a uppercut. I tried to hit him with an uppercut, but the little bastard dodged it. What a champ! Guy was starting to really cheese me off. Straight. I threw a straight. Wham! Ah! He stumbled and let out a groan. I didn't think he would be standing much longer. Please don't hurt me! Uppercut! I threw an uppercut. Go again! He started to back up like he was about to make a run for it. Where's the other guy, by the way? He can sneak up on me and smack me. I'd had enough. These bastards were the thugs that beat up Kuma. No more Mr. Nice Guy. Alright, you little bastards, time's up. Fighting sound effects. Fighting sound effects. Help! I'm not done with you. Arg. Oh god, please don't hurt us anymore! Had I overdone it? I mean, they're still alive. I think you overdo it if they don't move anymore. Well, I hadn't had much choice. I sat down in the alley across from my groaning assailants and lit up a cigarette. They'd had enough of a beating for one day. I'd figured I'd let them stumble home to mommy. I was still pretty sure they could still walk. Nothing like a little fight to get the blood flowing. Punks. What did I want to do? I inspected my handiwork. The big one was out cold. I frisked him to see if he had any weapons. I pulled something. He had a baton! I pulled something white out of his pocket. I frisked the small guy to see if he had any weapons. As I was checking his pockets, his eyes strained to open, and he murmured something I could barely hear. Rosebud! Don't hurt me! I was amazed he could still speak. I was getting rusty. Jesus Christ! Now I figured I should check them for any other weapons first. Don't want to take any chances. Forgive me! He seemed like he was trying to tell me something, but... Okay. Looked like a folded piece of paper. I thought you said... Oh. You said it was powder! You can't see it's powder if it's folded up in a piece of paper! I carefully unfolded the paper. Sitting on the middle of it was a small mound of white powder. Shit. No, cocaine. I folded the paper back up and put it in my pocket. The street was empty, just me and a couple of goons groaning on the ground. Wait, so you were groaning with them? What have you been doing? Perfect for a little distasteful work. Alright then, why don't you fellas tell me what this is all about? Whoa, wait! Please don't turn us in! How's about you giving me the lowdown on this little job you tried to pull, and I'll think about it. Okay. Man on the left seemed like he was really just willing to spill the beans. Why? He had suddenly become very interested in the texture of the sidewalk. It looked like he was going to need a little convincing. Oh, okay, these were the two students you had to threaten in the original game. In the original game, you have to find some university students and, like, threaten them to tell you information. I wasn't gonna get anything out of him. He was out cold. Perhaps it was better that way. He didn't seem like a talkative type. About Kuma. I wasn't quite ready to go that far. What are you talking about? Go far with what? As I reached for one of the batons, I saw the tough guy's eyes widen and his lips began to quiver. Well, wait, please don't hurt me. And start giving me some real answers. Somebody told me to rough you up a bit. What do I want to do? Fuck. No luck, he climbed up again. This guy seemed to have trouble taking a hint. Alright, first it was baton. Kick him? Kick him in the ass? Oh, wait. No, I'm actually kicking a can. I socked an empty can next to the thug's head. But I accidentally kicked it right into a nearby trash can. But wow! Needless to say, that didn't work. What are the chances? I grabbed him by the collar and pulled his face right up next to mine. I hadn't thought it was possible, but as I grabbed him, his already pale face got even whiter. Who's the joker that asked you to jump me? Sorry, that sounded like a Batman line. R.I.P. What was it? Kevin Conway? Was that his name? The voice of Batman from the animated series. He recently passed. He said someone had been asking questions about some woman named Mary Taylor, see? And that there was some dope waiting for us if we saw to it that the person stopped asking their questions. That didn't answer my question. I need to know more about the client of theirs. I want to talk client more. Alright. Kick the can. I don't have a can. I started to explain to him how Kuma and I were good friends and how unhappy I was that he'd beaten up a friend of mine. His eyes got so wide I was surprised they stayed in his head. I just want to know who put you rubes up to this. So how about you tell me before I do something we'll both regret? Alright. He's from the Salvatore family. God damn it. Couldn't waste any more time on this punt. Hey, cut the crap. You want to be able to walk out of this alley or not? Alright, just don't tell him. Just don't let me take the rap. I mean, you could just easily leave your friend that's out cold there and say, yeah, he totally beat us both up. It's not my fault. Mr. Corso told us to do it. See, we need that dope. See? Oh god, I can't go to prison. You know what they do to guys like me in prison? They give you a dog? And you're supposed to care for the dog? And become friends with the dog and rehabilitate the dog? Or they force you to make license plates? Or, oh, they drag you out to the side of a highway and force you to clean up trash. Put you on a chain gang. Really? Mr. Corso from the Salvatore family, huh? Or is it the Salvatore, since they're supposed to be, I don't know. Mafia or something? You can't tell him I never told you anything! He'd slipped up, and apparently the consequences are not something he was looking forward to. It turned out to be more useful than I had thought. It's almost felt too easy. Almost. You can't tell Mr. Corso, he'll kill us! Sure, I'll try and keep your name out of it. Oh, thank God! How am I going to explain this? You fell down a pile of stairs? Like you were just walking along and then suddenly a pile of stairs? Oh, I know. You were walking along and the floor suddenly slipped out from under you. I pulled out a cigarette as I watched the man mumble to himself. He seemed to be caught between his orders to keep silent and his fear of what I'd do if he didn't spill the beans. Looked like he might need a little convincing. I earned a nice long smoke. I didn't think I was going to get anything more out of the Torpedo Twins. I'd heard enough. I took out my cell phone and I put in a call to the Shinjuku police station. Hey! What are you calling the cops for? You're a goddamn snitch! Fucking narc. Yeah, don't call the cops. 1213. Don't recall saying that I wasn't. I can be a forgiving guy, but I've never had a lot of sympathy for any sap that gets himself involved in the direct. Fuck you, buddy, it's not your business. It's between the paying customer and the dealer on what the fuck is up with drugs. But I guess we're in Japan and they really, really don't like drugs over there. I leave the nice guy stuff to Kuma. Yeah, but Kuma's the fucking cop. You're just a damn detective. A private detective. A private investigator. You're probably not even supposed to be doing this because you could go to jail for assault. I pulled out another cigarette and pulled my coat tighter. I had like 5 cigarettes in my mouth right now. Smoking all of them at once. The city felt a little chilly. While I waited for the cops, I figured I should take out a moment to try and organize my thoughts. I'd managed to uncover a number of new leads. What I had heard from Trent, Mary used to go to Eternus University Hospital and once had surgery there. As a result of the surgery in Eternus University, Mary's condition wasn't cured? Cured? Her disease was cured? That would have been nice, but it wasn't the case. I was right, her disease wasn't cured. So I thought they improved her disease and she should have been happy about it. Or at least she told Trent they were cured, and I guess since she was sad about it, that he knew that it wasn't cured, or something. what did Mary do after finding out her condition wasn't cured? Different doctor? She changed it not as far as... Different hospital? That was right, she started going to a different hospital. Did she? Friend had said the new hospital, I had told her that they could cure her. Yes? That was right, there was a possibility that she'd be cured. Okay, then I guess that was it. I forget reading all of this. I read it out loud and I forget reading that part. Was something lost in translation? Trent had also mentioned Mary's attitude after hearing from the new hospital. Concerned? That was right. Trent seemed to think that she'd been concerned about something. The reason was... unknown. That was right. Trent hadn't known what she was concerned about. After I met with Trent, I'd been attacked by the thugs who jumped Kuma. They looked like a couple of triggermen, small-time crooks. I think they were students. Like I said, either students or, two of them. Yep, good to know I can still count. Why'd they jump me? A request. Someone had asked them to do it. Or so. That's right. Someone called Mr. Corso had promised some drugs if they shut me up. And he is Salvatore. The Pink Flamingos! The Genovese? It was the Salvatore family. I let my mind drift back over everyone I met that day, what they said and how they'd looked. I replayed the whole day in my mind. And I felt that I had a pretty good handle on the situation. Just as I was finishing my cigarette, the cops pulled up. I watched Detective Kosugi get out of a squad car with a beat cop. You know, the cops that go out and beat people for no reason whatsoever because they're assholes. He strode toward me, a wide grin covering his face.
Good job there, son. Didn't think we'd find the punks that roughed up Kuma so quick.
I gave him a nod and a smile, but my mind was elsewhere. Sure, I'd managed to nab the men that had attacked King, but I still hadn't figured out who the people were behind Mary Taylor's murder. Whoever used those slugs to try and silence King and myself and Mary's killer, they were still out there. Compared to them, the chumps on the ground were just small potatoes. Tiny little potatoes, cute, round. I wasn't about to stop until I saw them all in handcuffs, including myself. And then someone would put a gag in my mouth. Wait, no, that's getting off topic. Kosugi.
What's up, son?
It's not over yet. I turned my back on a confused Detective Kosugi as I started off down the street, digging my lighter out of my coat pocket. I knew where I had to go next, but I wasn't looking forward to it. Then again, not many people looked forward to visiting the Salvatore family. It hadn't occurred to me that they might be involved, but after what I heard from the Torpedo twins, I didn't see it as I had a choice. The family ran the area around the Jinguuji district. Everybody left them alone. Other mobsters, small-time crooks, even cops. Because you see, the cops were on the cops were buddy-buddy with the crime boss. As you could say, the cops were the crime boss. But it looked like the Saburou Jinguuji didn't have the brains to leave well enough alone. No, he had to walk straight into the lion's den. The hell was I thinking? If he continued. Shinjuku City has a long, glorious history of organized crime. Mafia, Yakuza, triads, you can find it all here. Are there Yakuza in technically the quote-unquote United States? Then again, can you find the mafia in Japan? I'm not certain about the triads. They're probably everywhere. Once you start to peek behind the curtain, you peek? Peek is spelled wrong. P-E-E-K. AksysGames. Peek behind the curtain, you realize that there isn't a pie in the sky that they don't have their finger in. Where's the quality control? Well, okay, AksysGames doesn't have quality control, but still. The Salvador family has more fingers and more pies than most. They were like a biblical angel of fingers and pies. Sometimes called the Sixth Family, the Salvatores are one of the oldest families in Shinjuku. They're old-world Cosa Nostra to the core. All polite talk and kisses on the hand till it's time to put a bullet in your head. Still, they walk the walk a little better than most. Killers they might be, but drug dealers they were not. Which was why I had heard from the Torpedo Twins had me worried that the Salvatore family was moving dope. They're a family after all. With those thoughts running through my head, I entered the office of the Salvatore family. La Familia. Let's see, what voice do I want to give him? Huh? Who the hell are you? What the hell do you want? I'd like to see Mr. Drago. What did you say? You got some nerve asking for Mr. Drago like that. What voice should I give him? Too many people that need voices. Knock it off, Guido! Leave the man alone! Oh, crap. But boss! Yeah. It's been far too long, Mr. Jinguuji. I apologize for this gentleman's behavior. He's a good man, but sometimes perhaps a bit enthusiastic. Is there something I can help you with? Drago was one of the youngest underbosses in the Salvatore family. We'd met before as mobsters went, you could do worse. Underboss? Yeah, underboss. Standing just a little too close to me was an oily man in a gold necklace that looked like it had seen its fair share of pawn shops. I gathered that his name was Guido, and that was pretty much all I wanted to know about him. 5 or 6, wise guys? I honestly don't know that. I've heard of, like, I've heard of the term wise guy, like, yeah, wise guy, eh? But, like, calling mobsters wise guys? I have not heard of that. Lounged around the back of the room, keeping an eye on me. Word on the street was that Drago was next in line as the Don. You mean the Capo? We've met a few times before. Actually, I don't know really what's the difference between the Don and the Capo. He wasn't a bad guy, but he was a man of honor first and everything else second. As polite as the next guy, he wouldn't hesitate to have you taken for a ride if you crossed him. I couldn't play games with a mobster like Drago. I had to give it to him straight and hope he'd tell me what I needed to hear. I glanced over at the man wearing that hideous gold necklace. I figured he was one of Draco's younger subordinates. As I looked closer, I noticed that the man's chest had the word Leet written across it. I don't even know what the original would have been. Neat? Yeah, anyway, I'm skipping that. I'm just wondering if that was just something AksysGames added because they're, you know, they're really bad at translating things. Huh, what the hell are you staring at? You wanna die? Saboteur family isn't in the business of moving dope, is it, Drago? You know very well that it's not, Mr. Jinguuji. I'm not sure that I like what I'm not sure that I like what you're insinuating. Perhaps you should clarify. Is that so? I'm sorry those gentlemen insulted you, although they clearly got more than they bargained for. But I must ask, Mr. Jinguuji-san, why do you seem that this matter concerns me? I am of the understanding that such incidents are relatively common, regrettable as that may be. Yes, Jinguuji-san, I'm sure you see us as criminals, but this thing of ours is not without honor. My family treats with respect to all those who deserve it. Many of the organizations in this business are not so generous. Perhaps that is why the Salvatore family has lasted so long. To another time I might be intrigued, but your interest, Jinguuji-san. I might be intrigued by your interest, Jinguuji-san, but at the moment the books are closed. A deal? I fail to see what you might be able to offer the family, Jinguuji-san. Ah, that's really good. I'll take everything you got, man. The police? I'm not sure I understand what you're saying, Jinguuji-san. What the hell, are you some kind of cop? Is there a man named Mr. Corso here? Yes. One of the gentlemen in my employ is known by that name. Is something the matter? Where is Mr. Corso? Well, I should imagine he is around here somewhere. He hangs out here with the rest of you fellas? When he is not otherwise engaged, yes. Do you wish to speak with Mr. Corso, Jinguuji-san? Huh? Saboteur family doesn't touch that shit. You better shut your damn mouth before I shut it for you. Huh? What the hell are you talking about? Stop babbling nonsense or I'll beat you to a pulp. Yeah, you better believe it. The Salvatore family stands for honor and righteousness in doing the right thing. I'll kill anyone that says different. Huh? A deal? What the hell are you talking about? Huh, the cops? You just asking for a nickel sandwich. What the hell do we have to tell you about him for? You wanna take this outside, huh? What was that at the end? Oh.
Konnichiwa, Aruji-sama.
Yes, thank you, Rentite. You are correct. Don DiSano has been very clear about our involvement in the drug trade. It is not a business that suits men of honor. that they had Mr. Corso said that they'd want to shut me up. I thought there was like a way to go back. You son of a bitch, you got quite an imagination. These are some serious accusations, Jinguuji-san. I hope that you're prepared to support them. The Salvador family takes dishonesty very seriously. You heard the boss, now show us some proof. And the dope I found on the thugs to Drigo. You two indeed have a drug in that piece of paper, Jinguuji-san. And a very pure one at that. My knowledge of narcotics is limited at best, but my occupation has necessitated a certain level of familiarity. I can tell you this much. What you have there is not common in the street, though. This particular compound is common enough, but something as pure as your sample is rarely seen outside of hospitals or government labs. Right. So you're saying this stuff isn't easy to get, am I right? If one of the families was putting this stuff on the street, they'd need to be pulling a lot of weight with the right people. I'm not sure I understand what you're insinuating, Jinguuji-san. You son of a bitch, you trying to start something? Calm down, Guido. I'm sure Jinguuji-san isn't trying to start a fight with you. Nonetheless, I have to ask, why are you here, Jinguuji-san? I say your name a lot, don't I, Jinguuji-san? Surely you didn't come here just to have me identify that substance in your pocket. Relax, guys. I'm just saying that the cops asked me to take on this case. You the cops? Jinguuji, damn you! Calm down, Guido. Jinguuji-san, you're not a foolish man. Why would you come into my place of business to tell me that you're working for the police? I hope that you're not attempting to make some sort of a threat. The family does not respond well to threats. I fail to see what you might be offering the family. Just hear me out, Drago. You have not answered my question. The case I'm on is a request from the cops, I'll tell you that much. But it doesn't have anything to do with the Salvador family. I'm just following the nose and it brought me here. If the family is involved with this somehow, we both know things are going to take the turn for the worse. I need your help, and if I get it, I might be able to keep the Salvador's family out of the spotlight when the shit hits the fan. That's my deal, take it or leave it. I assume the help you referred to is determined if Mr. Corso did indeed hire those gentlemen to waylay you. I can see why they put you in charge, Drago. Don't get me wrong, there's no doubt in my mind that your hands are clean. A couple of wet-behind-the-ear kids, not really your style. Very well, Jinguuji-san. It would appear— I think I'm just gonna stop saying it. It would appear that you have made an offer I cannot refuse. Gonna make you an offer you can't refuse. Glad to know you're on board, Drago. If your accusations are correct, I do not think the Don will be very forgiving of Mr. Corso. I do not know Mr. Corso's whereabouts, but I will have my men locate him. I hope that he will tell me the truth without any coercion. I dislike extracting information from the unwilling. Rest assured, you will have your answers soon enough, one way or another. Thanks, Drago, I appreciate it. I can leave now, right? Let's go to the hospital. God, let me get something's ring. Killed my throat there. It died. Buried it. Become a little throat skeleton. Can asthma? Maybe? I don't know. I done all I could with Drago. I hope he'd take care of Corso for me, but if that didn't pan out, well, I could cross that bridge when I came to it. I already knew where I needed to go next. It was a cool afternoon with gray clouds racing across the sky and a stiff breeze running through the streets of Shinjuku. As I moved off in the direction of the hospital, I pulled out a cigarette. God knows I needed one. I added it to the 15 I already had in my mouth that I was smoking. Dude, seriously, you have a problem. I would at least see if you could cut down on the amount you're smoking, dude. Not saying you have to quit, just, you know. I'd come back to the Eternus U Hospital. It was time for Professor Klein and I to have a little chat. There were more people in the lobby than last time. It looked like I'd picked a bad time to visit. The receptionists were swamped. I had a feeling they were probably too busy to talk to me. But without their help, it wasn't likely I'd get far. They're probably too busy to talk to me. God, this thing likes to repeat text, doesn't it? Just as I was about to leave, a familiar face appeared out of the crowd. Your timing is incredible, Jinguuji-san. Sarah Travis, whose voice I forgot. I've met her on an earlier visit to the hospital. She's known Mary. I appreciate the flattery, but it looks pretty busy around here. Maybe I should come back another time. But Jinguuji-san, Professor Klein is in today. I've already told him about you. You should be able to go straight to his office. Really? That's great. I finally got my chance to talk to Professor Klein. I wasn't going to waste it. Klein Hakase? He's not a doctor? Sarah jogged up, breathing hard. She looked like she'd come from the other side of the hospital. I was glad to see her. It helps to have a friend on the inside. Professor Klein is in today, so we should be able to speak with him. You've been a great help to my investigation, Sarah. If you ever need anything, oh, don't worry about it. I just hope the killer is arrested soon. Besides, I'd say I'd do anything I could to help you. I suppose you did. Do I have to keep talking to her? Jinguuji-san, Professor Klein's office is... You know what? Let me just write it down for you. I received Professor Klein's office location from Sarah. Time to get back to work. Time to get back to work! Thanks again. Time for that chat with Professor Klein. I was finally gonna get my chance to talk with Professor Klein. I had a whole head full of questions for him. It'd taken me a while, but I had a hunch that talking to Professor Klein might just be what I needed to bust the case wide open. Admittedly, I hadn't seen a lot of doctor's offices, but this seemed pretty snazzy, at least as far as those things go. I stepped into the exam room and took a look around. The only other person in there was a middle-aged man. It's Shax from Lower Decks with glasses. Professor Klein. The exam room was spotless, pretty impressive even for a big hospital. It was big too, big enough to be a small studio apartment. His name tag read Klein. Bingo. She would stare at him again. We barely even talked and I could tell he already didn't like me. It just light up right in front of him. He appeared to be a very professional middle-aged man. Not exactly the kind of guy I had a history of getting along with. Pardon-moi. Eh? My name is Saburou Jinguuji. I'm a detective. I'd like to ask you a few questions about Mary Taylor.
Oh, it's you. I've heard about you. I'm Professor Klein. I used to be Miss Taylor's doctor. Miss Taylor was a strong, outgoing young woman. It is truly a tragedy to see a woman like her cut down in the prime of her life. You may be a detective, Jinguuji-san, but I'm afraid it would be a breach of privacy to discuss the details of Miss Taylor's condition with you. I, too, am shocked and saddened by this tragedy, but death does absolve me of my obligations to the Wait. You mean death doesn't absolve you of the obligations to the privacy of your patients? I'm afraid that unless I have a court order, I cannot discuss the details of Mary's case. I see, so you are acting at the behest of the police. Then it would appear I have no choice but to cooperate with you. Go ahead, ask me anything. I don't have a right to that information! I am not the police, and I don't have a warrant or a subpoena. But bear in mind that the story may seem somewhat complicated to a normal person as yourself. Miss Taylor's condition was a rare one indeed. The details would seem rather complicated to someone like you, but she had been suffering from it for more than 10 years. I've heard there is a procedure to correct Mary's condition. That's not a very good joke, Miss Jinguuji-san. Don't you think I would know about such a procedure if it did exist? Huh? Of course I can show it to you, but I know a person like you won't be able to comprehend any of it. I picked up Mary's records and began to read through them, but he'd been right. It chafed my ass to admit it, but I couldn't make heads or tails out of the medical gibberish. God damn. Even I could read my own chart and kind of sort of make stuff out. The professor gave me a I told you so kind of look. Drugs? What the heck are you babbling about? Let me just run through this again. I've had enough. As soon as I mentioned the word drugs, Professor Klein's face began to stiffen. There was no doubt in my mind he was hiding something. The exam room appeared to be the Professor Klein's exclusive use. There were a couple of pictures on the desk and the wall, but other than that, it was pretty sparse. I noticed a framed picture placed on his desk. It was a picture of Professor Klein doing something. Volunteer work, maybe? Huh? I looked closer. Central Park? Was Professor Klein one of the volunteers I'd seen in the park? If he was... It was too big of a coincidence that I had to ask him about it. Professor Klein. What is it? In this picture, are you doing some kind of volunteer work? I wouldn't think a man with your responsibilities would have the time. Oh, that. It's a picture of an event that I sponsor. Well, I suppose you could call it volunteering. Did you say you sponsored it? Yes, that's correct. We supply the homeless people in the Central Park with food and the basic necessities. What do you want to talk about? Homeless people. You're quite a guy. You must be pretty popular with the homeless. Ah, you could say that. Whenever I run into one of them on the street, they always thank me for the service I'm providing. I suppose I've achieved a certain amount of fame. Interesting. The homeless in the park would consider the professor a pretty important person, then... The homeless outreach program was a little something that I started to safeguard by
So you created it just to make you look good. You didn't actually care for the homeless people.
It was well received, I mean, by the homeless people and the public. That's why I've continued working on it. Thanks to the homeless outreach program, I'm very well known now. I've built quite a reputation off of the homeless.
He's fucking him, using them up, and throwing them away.
Whoops. Please keep this to yourself. If this gets out in the open, I would lose face.
Why was I not surprised?
Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to get back to work.
That was that, I'd be giving the brush off. I'd gotten more than I'd bargained for from Professor Klein. There wasn't any point to standing around outside of his office. I headed for the lobby, itching for a cigarette. I'd gotten a lot more than I bargained for. I never guessed the professor would have a connection to the homeless. Although that made me wonder. I just decided to go see if I could find anything at the park when I suddenly felt like someone was watching me. As I spun around to try and spot my admirer, I felt something in my pocket start to shake. Mary Taylor's cell phone was vibrating. I flipped it open and read the message. It was an address. I didn't know what for, but it was somewhere in Shinjuku. Someone was trying to tell me something. As I put the phone back in my pocket, I realized it didn't feel like I was being watched anymore. This was the same person who had sent me the other message. The address had to be important. Pulled out a cigarette and headed off toward the address on the phone. I had 50 cigarettes in my mouth by now. I think I needed like 5 more packs. It wasn't quite enough to like stave off the urge. I had finally arrived at the address on the phone. All I could see were a number of nondescript buildings of what looked like a hospital. The sign hanging over its entrance read, Nicholson Clinic. I still wasn't sure why I'd been sent there, but I was starting to get an idea. I ground the remains of my cigarette on the sidewalk and stepped through the door. As I walked in, I noticed that the building looked a little old and despite its size seemed to have even more people than Eternus. I'm going to look around this and then talk to the people, and then I'm going to call it a stream. The building seemed old, but the clinic itself was clean. The waiting room was filled to the burst. To get this kind of turnout, the doctor there must have been top-notch. The nurse at the receptionist's desk was staring at me from the back of the room. It didn't look like she was staring because she appreciated my rugged good looks. My first impressions are rarely that great. Still, I figured I might as well say hi and see if she knew anything about Mary. I'm very sorry, but I don't have the authority to give out the patient's information. Alright, let's see. Have I exhausted all these options? Probably have to use something. Business card! Yes, this is actually one of the commands in the original NES game. Took out my business card. Let's talk about me. Took out my business card and mentioned that the police had sent me. You were hired by the police? Yes, ma'am, my name is Saburou Jinguuji. I'm a detective. I'd like to ask you a few questions if that's alright with you. Miss Mary Taylor, yes, she visited this clinic once in the past. Interesting. Is there a doctor who knows about Miss Taylor's condition who I can speak to? Yes, there is. This clinic has only one doctor, Dr. Nicholson, so she should be able to answer any questions about a patient. His office is down the hall. Alright, calling it there. Before I get into any more, my throat's just, like, been murdered. Hello, I'd like to report a murder in my throat. It worked itself to death. Switch to powering down. There. It worked. Turn on the num lock and then stuff starts working for you. Anyway, thanks everyone for joining me. Thanks, little bitch. Jamie, little bitch Shadow. I keep forgetting to do shoutouts. I think that was the Five Nights at Freddy's, security something? Security breach, I think that's the one.
Okay, I am getting off because I'm stuck in this bikini.
Thanks anyone else for joining. Take care of yourselves, get some sleep, get plenty of hydration, and I shall see you next time. Oh, wait for it. Is there anybody on to raid? Anybody playing any good games? I don't really see anybody doing anything good. Alright, then take care of yourselves. Wander off to wherever you wish to be. Have fun. And I shall see you whenever the stars are right. I lost OBS. OBS, where? Oh, there you are. Bye.